Program, everybody. You know, it's long been said, it's a historical fact that the Democrat Party is the party of the KKK. So imagine our surprise where I guess fate gives us a little bit of historical consistency when we find out yesterday that the Southern Poverty Law Center, the group that is supposed to, find hate groups, find racism, they're actually false flagging the entire country, and they're paying people in the hate groups to be hate groups. Then they turn around and they fundraise off of the new hate groups that they themselves are responsible for. It was an incredible day yesterday. We got off the air. We immediately saw this indictment that came down. How much more fraud are we going to uncover? Is everything just riddled with fraud, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's California, whether it's Texas, and now the storied Southern Poverty Law Center? By the way, people on the right have been saying this very thing for a long time. We've often wondered if so much of the narrative that America is a racist country is really all astroturfed and artificial, and thanks to the Trump Department of Justice yesterday, we now have hard evidence that that is in fact true. We're going to talk about it, as well as the fallout from the gerrymandering in that election yesterday in Virginia. New developments: a judge has already put an injunction and says that they cannot certify the election results, probably because you've disenfranchised 50% of voters in the state of Virginia. We'll talk about that as well. The show starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, folks, welcome to the show. As always, broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas. We can't do the program without you watching, so we really appreciate it here on LFA TV, as well as the Paul Harrell Program, YouTube, Facebook, X. So do all the things we would appreciate it to make this show grow. I'm joined by my co-host. We got Rob Spencer back with us. Rob.
Paul, it's an honor to be in studio, as always. And, and we've got our good friend Eric with us today. So, but I will say this, just to reference what you were saying at the top of the show. What's the score at this point on conspiracy theories? Because, my God, if this was like adult softball league, which I used to play, and I was like traveling softball, this would be mercy ruled. There'd be the mercy rule in place here.
Yeah. The conspiracy theorists are essentially undefeated. It may take a few innings, but it eventually...
Hell, we're going to find out that UFOs exist, too. And so it's like...
These scientists, man, that are disappearing, killing themselves. Recently, a UFO researcher in Colorado, very famous guy with a lot of followers on his YouTube channel. He, according to reports, killed himself from a mental episode the other day. But it just adds to the growing list. 11 scientists. Is it now 11 or is it 12? People are wondering what in the world is going on. We actually have a few of those stories pulled. We'll see if we have time to get to it. Eric Haynes, my friend, how are you, sir?
So great to be part of the conversation. Good to be back in the saddle.
I got to update your lower third. How much did you pay for gas today, or the last time?
$3.48 in Conway.
Okay, so down 20 cents.
Yes.
Or so. All right, $3.48 in Conway, Arkansas. I'll try to get that
It's all
updated
over
here in a minute.
Yeah.
But let's get to it. We've got some pretty big news. I mean, this was pretty crazy. I mean, Kash Patel, he's been
out of nowhere.
He's been under a lot of fire, obviously, because of the two J6 pipe bomber stories.
Sure.
Right? Certainly, makes me very skeptical of his leadership. Then you had this story in the Atlantic, claiming that he gets drunk on the job and they have to, find some sort of breaching device in order to reach him. He denies it. Has actually filed a defamation lawsuit on that. But you do kind of wonder now. I'm not saying that Kash Patel is above criticism, but you do kind of wonder, was that Atlantic story because they knew that this indictment on the SPLC was coming down the pike?
Well, because you know that there are these swamp rats that are just set up shop there in the FBI. So, you're like, hey, this didn't come as a surprise to the left, at least not the left that's in the know. And so I'm so sick and tired of winning because the win.
You're sick and tired of
Yeah,
waiting.
because the win on this, confirming what we already know. This win, it's nice, it's great, but it's like winning the championship and nobody gives you the trophy. Where's the payoff? What's going to happen? Are they going to cut? Are they going to shut down? Was it Southern
Poverty Law Center.
Poverty Law Center?
Well, they got to go to trial first.
Okay, but are they going to? Is this going to be shut down? This is an NGO that's receiving government funding, and so we know
They were training. Not only that, the FBI. They partnered with the FBI and were training our law enforcement agencies across the country on how to deal with racist America.
it puts a further spotlight on Merrick Garland, who set his tail in front of Congress how many times and said the biggest threat that we have is white supremacy.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Really?
and also let's not forget about the fact that much of these groups, right, that you see, especially the Patriot Front, with the American flags and their faces covered, we would see these and we were like, those are feds. This is a fed op. Now what we're realizing is, and I think this is likely, and I know the indictment doesn't say this because this would be the FBI kind of indicting itself, but some of these FBI intel oligarchs could easily be running their informants through the SPLC. And I think that if we dig a little deeper here, that's exactly what we're going to find. But I will say this, and I will let you talk, but yesterday we were lamenting towards the end of the show the lack of accountability, and there's still a lot more to go. But when we got off the air, I was like, there's some accountability. I mean, it's the start of it. That would have never happened in a million years.
Yeah, it's the start
in
of
a
it.
Kamala Harris administration.
And let's go back to that batting average, a great comment that Rob made at the beginning. Like, at this point, and I've said this before a lot more recently than I ever used to, like, nothing surprises me anymore, and it should. These things should shock.
This should be shocking, yeah.
This should be absolutely shock and awe. We should all be in disbelief. We should all be freaking out. But are we really surprised?
Oh, no.
No, we're not. We're just like, well, it's par for the course. This is the government. This is NGOs. This is what they do. This is part of their fraud, part of their scheming, part of their way of manipulating us as the hamsters on the wheel to take more of our money.
What are the lunatics on the left saying today? I haven't seen.
They are saying that, can you believe they indicted people? They indicted the SPLC because they were sending informants into these hateful groups. Like they're trying to say that it was a good thing. Let me actually show you. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Hang on a second. I didn't pull this yet.
Again, not to be surprised, but
no.
Yeah.
I'm going to read you the USA Today headline, which I have pulled right here. All right, let's throw this up on the screen. Here it is. USA Today. The Southern Poverty Law Center was indicted for paying sources to infiltrate hate groups. A tactic federal agencies have used for decades. And so Aaron McIntyre rightfully says, this is one of those headlines that reveals way more than it means to. So the people on Blue Sky,
Right.
the leftists on Blue Sky are saying, oh my gosh, they were trying to infiltrate the hate groups. But of course, the indictment says the complete opposite. The indictment says, no, you guys were paying these people to be the racists that then you would fundraise to stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's what the indictment says.
I mean,
What a crazy game of poker.
wow, yeah. Yeah, it's like setting a fire so that you can sell your fire hydrant service.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, we've got this new fire hydrant installation service here we'd like to sell you.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're fine here.
Yeah, it's like creating
back
a
in a
virus.
week.
It's like creating a virus so you could sell everybody the vaccine.
No.
You've seen that movie. It's
No.
called
It's not like we haven't seen this movie before, but like the racist part of it is just what's really, really. I mean,
What's racist about
we
it?
went years being told that
Oh,
three
you're
guys
saying-
like
yeah.
us, that we're the biggest problem and we're the biggest threat to humanity.
Yeah.
Biden said that from the microphone. My gosh.
I love it. I love the comment that stupid leftist African Americans, blacks, whatever the acceptable term to call someone of that color skin, what their stupid terminology is now, and their thing. Black people can't be racist. We can't be racist because we lack the power structure. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I just saw you say that you hate all white people. Like you can't stand white people, or that you try to charge more for white people at your black-owned business. What are you talking about? You can't be racist. You're the very definition of racist. You're the very you hate someone because of the color of your skin, of their skin, and you want to say that you're not racist?
Yeah, and the corporations are doing it too. I've got a post about this where I think it was one of these airlines. Some guy's ticket jumped like, to like $1,200 or whatever, and the airline said in public, "Hey, go ahead and clear your caches and your cookies, and open an incognito browser."
Oh yeah, I do that when I'm shopping for tickets,
and it'll fix your problem.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so they literally admitted that they're charging people more, because of their zip code or their credit card limit or whatever. I mean, your cash history.
I have noticed this. I get charged more when I use this. This has happened specifically with plane tickets. When I entered in my American Express Gold Card, okay, which is typically for business owners or something like that. I've used my American Express Gold Card, and the price that it quoted, because it's like, we've got taxes and fees or whatever, that always gets on the next screen.
That's the next screen. Okay. Yeah.
Canceled out of that stuff. Go to an incognito mode, enter in my Chase card, our Chase Visa card, which pretty much anybody gets, right? Much lower price.
What?
Oh, yeah. I told my wife about this, and I was like, what? What the heck? What the heck? Is
this the first time you're hearing of this?
Oh, just to put it in perspective, because
I went away from American Express a while back. So that's wild.
So my American Express Gold Card.
It didn't have anything to do because I'm a cracker, but
my American Express Gold Card does not have a preset spending limit, and I think that there's something that triggers inside. They're
like, this guy's Mr. Big Money Business Pants.
Whatever. No, we just don't use debit cards. We put everything on a credit card and we pay off that balance at the end of the month, and we get free Amazon money. We get free Amazon money. We get all this stuff or whatever. It's just so stupid.
Okay, let's go to the attorney, the Deputy Attorney General right here. This is Todd Blanche from yesterday. Take a listen to this.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count.
Real quick, I'm not a fan of Todd Blanche. I think Todd, generally, I think he's a Democrat. However, I did think about this last night. I am so glad Pam Bondi was not giving this press conference.
He nailed it in this press conference.
He
was articulate.
Exactly.
He didn't have to be terribly charismatic, but he was very articulate. He got the point across, and when that reporter started going after it, he squashed him.
Exactly. And Pam Bondi would have been like, today we're going against that disgusting SPLC, that Southern Poverty Law Center. And they did what they did, and it was,
he's on a heater.
Well, no, I mean that's what it would have been like. It would have been like, it'd be like nails on a chalkboard, lady.
And this was
talking.
not.
Come on,
and this would never happen. This is not going to happen. And we are going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I said I would put these types of people behind bars.
We all three need to have our best Bondi.
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Just go back and forth.
Man. And again, no fan of Todd Blanche, but I'll give him credit. This is great. I mean, this is fantastic.
Indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death
people
of one
on both
person
sides.
It is huge
and injured dozens more.
that he specifically mentioned that one.
This particular person being paid by the SPLC allegedly received approximately $270,000 over the course of 8 years. In total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club,
Dang, what a
the
name.
Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front. Now, as the indictment lays out, after SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, it created work product that reported on these activities that the members participated in or contributed to. And to that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it's told its donors it was doing.
So many things here. So there's so many different. This is a national psyop, and this is a specific example of that on the issue of racism. But I will say that he mentions the motorcycle group. You know, that one you said was a lot of times when we're talking about the status of race in America, you know, we were going back to our previous conversation yesterday about having the need to qualify. One of those qualifiers that you've listed before, are there white supremacists? Yes. And we mentioned that one guy, FBI informant, who infiltrated one of these motorcycle gangs.
Yeah, his name's Scott Payne. He wrote a book about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not discounting that or anything.
Sure.
But what's funny is like the extremists, like the person who is like an outed white supremacist that is raising money and getting all these followers, that person doesn't exist in the context that they would like for us to believe. So even in those extreme circumstances, they're having to drum up this fake narrative. And I think it's part of the reason why, even on a right-wing show like this one, we will qualify. Are there extreme examples? Yes, there are. But it's not even... It's just fascinating to me how they have controlled the zeitgeist with this by basically planning, in this case with Charlottesville, this is now a documented false flag where all these people were going so they wouldn't tear the Civil War statue down, and they planned this. And it was a total setup. They funded this.
Couple of things. So I learned a lot from listening. So Scott Payne was on Joe Rogan's podcast. This has been, early last year, maybe, or maybe it was prior to that. I can't remember, but that's when I first saw it. And he wrote a book called Operation Pale Horse, I believe it's called. And I've got it. I've got the audio version. He reads it. So if you're an audiobook kind of person, he's great because he's got this real scruffy voice, and and it's just great when the author reads. But anyway, long story short, he's an FBI. He was in the FBI, and he infiltrated these biker gangs. He said most of them are like criminal organizations, but there are some, and he infiltrated those in maybe in the state of Georgia or whatever, that they want to create a race war, okay? But they're small time. They're small time people. They do a lot of talking, a lot of blustering, okay, but not a lot of action, right? And so it is not surprising or shocking to me at all that with a little bit of financial incentive, all they're doing is taking it from the talking phase to, okay, well, yeah, we'll do this. Well, then you're like, okay, well, would they have done it otherwise? Is that entrapment? I don't think so, based off of that, because this guy was infiltrating these biker gangs for a long time, and most of them are just criminal organizations. the same way they're a white Aryan Nation mob.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yes, exactly. But if they're giving this money, $3 million to 8 people, that's a pretty dang good incentive to go in here and do something that you kind of already feel like doing anyway, which is starting a race war.
Exactly.
Okay? So that's the fact that somebody would do that, especially being paid for it, is not the shocking thing. The shocking thing is that our tax dollars was the money being paid to them through this NGO that had these ulterior motives, that they don't care anything about the fact that you truly are racist and you want to start this race war. They don't care anything about that. They want to get Trump. Or they want to get conservatives. They want to create chaos. And Trump said what he said after Charlottesville that gave them this red meat, that's what they were wanting. And what did he say?
And they had to lie about it.
Yeah, there were fine people on both sides. And then a little bit later, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationals because they
were funded by the Southern Poverty
Yes.
But that part was edited out.
That part gets edited out.
Yeah, sorry.
Right? And then Brandon Straka forms the entire walkaway movement based off of those types of lies from the Democratic Party. And it just blows my mind that they're so indoctrinated with this stuff that they're saying, we're going to take taxpayer dollars to create chaos to try to get at those conservatives, because what do we not hear about? We don't hear about this happening the other way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When are we taking tax dollars and giving them to conservative organizations to do something so that they can create some chaos so that the Democrats can be the white knights here, right? This doesn't happen, or I may have said that incorrectly, but this just doesn't happen. And it seems like there's always a common denominator, and it's the left and their complete lunacy on anything that comes from Trump.
Gavin McInnes. So everybody is now going back to remember the phrase alt, right? Remember that in 2015,
Alt,
2016?
right. Yeah.
This is now coming back in a big way, like this whole thing. Now they're changing it to the woke right or whatever, which is ridiculous.
Oh
but
my gosh.
But remember the phrase alt right. So Gavin McInnes is saying, holy crap, I remember Jason Kessler demanding me and Proud Boys come to Charlottesville, and I kept refusing again and again. He wouldn't drop it. I remember screaming at him on the phone to F off and let it go. I mean, this was like a clearing call, like come to this setup, false flag. And honestly, it was like a foreshadowing of what they did at January 6th as well. Here's Todd Blanche. We can skip that. Go ahead.
Todd Blanche does mention in that, and this was one of the things that got me, was that, well, it's okay. It's just that this investigation was open during the Biden administration and was closed shut intentionally during the Biden administration.
Imagine that.
So there is that to keep in mind, too.
Well, let's listen to it. Let's listen to it.
Mr. Acting Attorney General, how did they get away with this for so long?
I mean, it's a great question. I said today during the press conference that we know that this investigation was open during the Biden administration and then mysteriously closed. I really don't have any information about why it was closed. And then we started again last year, the FBI did, working with the U.S. Attorney in Alabama. And it's extraordinarily egregious. You just talked about it. But imagine a donor to the SPLC if they were told, by the way, we're going to give the money you're giving us to the Ku Klux Klan. Okay? Like, in some cases, over $1 million. I mean, it's incredible.
Now,
some of the donors will be like,
Good
yeah,
Lord.
that's why I'm donating to you.
The irony.
Some of these donors knew exactly what this was about.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about communist revolution here. We're talking about Marxism, cultural Marxism. We need the marginalized groups to go to war with one another.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Apple gave like $1 million, and
oh yeah,
there was a couple other big name donors that, like, can you imagine tying them to or asking them in an interview, like, did you guys know that the checks that you were writing to the SPLC were actually going to, the Hell's Angels of racist biker gangs? Like, can you imagine Tim Wolf from Apple getting that question at a panel at an interview?
I mean,
coming up?
there's a clip I've got a clip of Dave Matthews doing some sort of concert for the SPLC.
Oh yeah.
You've got Bungie the video game company is tied to the SPLC. Mike Ben saying, no small irony in the SPLC going from being partnered with the FBI to raided by the FBI in under 4 years.
Wasn't Clooney and his wife, weren't they huge donors? They gave as much as Apple did. I mean, it's nuts.
R.N. McIntyre, and I pulled this just for my own sake, okay? Because I think this is a win. Hate the decision to go to war in Iran as much as you like. I certainly hate it. But this would be unimaginable under any previous GOP administration.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Would never happen.
We're just too nice.
Number one, it wouldn't happen because false flags are supposed to be the conspiracy theory. You know, that you basically create the opposition to then target the opposition. And yet, I've seen The Princess Bride. False flags are what make the world go round.
Nancy Pelosi already told you. She already told us what the playbook is. It is you start saying some things, you give some inside information here so that the reporters will start, reporting on it.
Yep.
And then you can come out and say, well, it's being reported that this and this and this happens. What they're doing through the Southern Poverty Law, for what's the C stand for? Center. Thank you. What they're doing through that is Nancy Pelosi's strategy on steroids. Because we're giving millions of dollars to create these false flags. And what are we seeing? What is it doing? My wife and I were talking about this last night. She very rarely will talk about politics. And she is very much a conservative Christian, but she is leaning toward the middle on certain things. But we were sitting here talking about how you will never get the straight news anymore. And it was in the 50s and the 60s, the Walter Cronkite days and all of this, that trust in the media was around 80%, maybe as high as 90%, depending on the polling. And now it's less than 15%. You see the same news articles and stories on Fox News and CNN that have completely different slants on it. That kind of stuff we know happens because they're trying to get viewership, they're trying to sell ads, they're trying to build a business. But when you're getting money from the government, folks, you have an organization getting money from the government to specifically seed and sow hatred. If there's not accountability for this stuff, we're not going to see it.
Go back to Doge, man. I mean, this is another level of what we hoped would continue with Doge and doing what it was doing. And did we get all we wanted out of that as far as accountability? No. I hope we get it here because at least the better people are involved in it.
So I just want to be clear, this SPLC, they claim that they do not take any government funding. They state that they do not receive or use government funding for its efforts.
I don't believe it.
But to your point, they might as well be the government when they are used to, partner with the FBI and, start training law enforcement. Somehow they got the life hack. Somehow they were seen as being neutral and just good, like just because, right? So
where do they get their money then, Paul? They're trying to say they receive all of that through donations.
Yeah, and I believe they do, and we're going to have that clip here in just a moment.
I would really like to see an audit of that.
So
I don't believe it.
Real quick here.
We saw with USAID, like there were organizations we had no idea that were receiving funds that absolutely were receiving because they're coming from a slush fund, right? They're coming from this big, umbrella term for this funding. So we got this $50 million that have gone to various organizations. And it's like, okay, well, what were they? What were they? And the Southern Poverty Law Center, I think these nonprofits get a pass a lot of times when there's investigations from the government, especially if they're aligned with the left and the left is the one doing that investigation.
R.N. McIntyre, this should be a fun moment for people who claimed it was crazy to suggest the FBI planned J6. Now, unfortunately, the truth is nobody's having their mind changed about this at all. You are either already in that camp or you're not. as we can see evidenced by Blue Sky and all the crazies over there. But these guys, the Patriot Front, I mean, we remember seeing these guys. They'd come everywhere, and people like me would be like, "Those are feds. Those are feds.
FBI agents.
Those are feds. Those are feds."
They even walk like feds.
They do.
Yeah. And so again, I think the other thread here that we're going to continue to pull at is that not only was the SPLC paying these guys, but what a great way if they were actually federal informants. What a great way to pay the federal informants to say, "Hey, SPLC, pay these guys."
Oh yeah.
And they've been caught. So Charlottesville was an total vindication for the alt-right. I pulled this because I haven't heard the phrase alt-right in 10 years.
Well, they call us the far right now.
Yeah.
There's the far right.
Far right, the alt-right. I just think it's just like it's a total, I don't know, just a flashback, man, of how things were.
The stupid idiots on The View were trying to say that the Republicans have gone right, that the Democrats haven't gone, they haven't gone. And I'm like, you just need to rewind and look at the 1992 Democrat National Convention's platform that Bill Clinton ran under. And you tell me if that sounds like a Democrat or if that sounds like a Republican.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Because the 90s Democrats are 100% Republicans these days with just a few centrist ideologies.
Well, yeah,
that's just what they are.
And that is why, honestly, when they say what has conservatism conserved, it's kind of because of that. It's because we're still moving to the left. It's like one party just takes us there in a freight train, and the other takes us there in like an aircraft carrier.
What are we farther right on right now, Paul? Like we were all alive when. I believe you were, when Ronald Reagan was president. Now we were young, we didn't know what's going on.
I was born
Paul was involved in politics at that point.
In '84.
Yep.
You think I'm okay?
Well, you said you used to do a newscast at your elementary school.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was born in '84, so I mean,
listen, 4-year-old you was mourning.
I was around for Reagan's farewell address in '89, but
bring back the '80s.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
Yeah, amen to that, brother.
Well, then let's go a little further. Let's look at
in the '90s. I was doing an elementary school newscast.
Yeah, let's fast.
You weren't there for that. Awesome. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Paul,
I had a whole thing.
We love you,
I don't
Paul.
think probably some.
Because I see you in
just the news.
Suited up.
No,
like
we
really
didn't
what was the name of your show? What was the name of the show?
It was called called Kids. Because the school I went to was called South Elementary, and so it was kids interviewing and discovering South. So you talked about,
Okay.
Although
did you come up with that name?
No, it was the gifted and talented teacher or whatever.
Kids interviewing and discovering South. It was called SIDS.
Kids.
Oh, kids.
Kids.
Oh yeah.
SIDS.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like, dude.
I know words.
I would just be doing the newscast and suddenly die.
Yes.
Sorry.
But I just want to. I wish there were video of you. Where we could bring that up and show that on the show one day.
Dude, it's on some VHS
you with your little
somewhere.
Your little piece of paper sliding it to the side, folks. We've got that. Hold on, let me make my point.
Yeah, you make your point.
All right. So let's go with George Bush. What are we further right on? Is it further or farther? Whatever.
Depends on how you use it.
More to the right. What are we more to the right on than we were in the mid-2000s?
Immigration, I would say. I am much further.
Well, I'm talking about our political, our party's platform, the Republican platform. Because everybody,
if anything, the platform is weaker, is more to the left.
Exactly my point.
Okay, that's what you're saying. The Republican platform is definitely
exactly my
further
point.
Left on a lot of things,
folks. We were not acceptable to gay marriage for the longest time as a party, right? And now, I mean, we've got gay people in our party. I mean, it's just the way it is.
This is true, and they're
influential.
And
people.
it's a like I said, it's a coalition because there's still a giant percentage of that coalition that are not for those things. That are not for
Yeah, and I'm not saying whether
it's left. Yes, for sure.
Yes.
I'm not saying whether it's right or it's wrong, but I'm just saying how do they sit there with a straight face and say that the Republican Party has gone farther right.
I got
you know, that's the whole long drawn out point that I was trying to reach. It's just it just blows my mind. And these instances where these people are getting called to the carpet, there has to be accountability, because what they do is they just keep saying, we're alt-right, you're far right, you're this, you're all of this stuff. And it's just not true, folks.
So apparently the Southern Poverty Law Center created a sole proprietorship LLC called the Center Investigative Agency.
The CIA?
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So they're like,
Okay.
you know, they may not
Wow.
officially take government money, but they're sure acting like it. Here's Charlie Kirk posting this back on May 25th of last year. The SPLC has added Turning Point to their ridiculous hate group list, right next to the KKK and neo-Nazis, a cheap smear from a washed-up org that's been fleecing scared grandmas for decades. They somehow still rake in over $100 million a year peddling their hate map nonsense, sitting pretty in their Montgomery poverty palace while crying about hate to line their pockets. Even former staffers called their racket a con. And, of course, now we know Charlie was you know, more right. And he probably knew exactly what was going on, but just didn't have the proof. So let's also keep in mind that the SPLC was one of the most powerful censorship forces in the country for decades, lavishly supported by many big American companies for years. And it says here, oh, and by the way, the next group that people want this explored with is the Anti-Defamation League.
Oh, yeah.
It's the ADL.
Yep.
Are they doing the same thing, creating, you know, stories and funding anti-Semitism that otherwise wouldn't be there in the headlines if they hadn't funded it?
And need to look at the NAACP.
NAACP, all of it has to be looked at to get over this mind virus of you know, racism, which is why the FBI said that, you know, white people are the biggest terror threat is domestic terror, which is, you know, if you're a white male, then you are more likely to be a domestic terrorist. The SPLC.
Meanwhile, we're all looking around saying, "Are we really? Really? Things are pretty good. And it's not one of those things where I got plenty of black friends. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying, like, it was literally thrust upon us that we were the most dangerous thing in America, just being white guys, and that everything, the system was so racist, and the school to prison pipeline and all of these just racist things that are built into the system. It was just, we were just pounded on the day after day after day after day, all the time, just beat down with it. And we're all like, no, man, that's pretty nice. Like, all these people that I interact with on a day-to-day basis, I don't care what color their skin is. Everything's great. And boy, to see it come full circle now, my God.
Yeah, it's all a giant psyop.
Well,
to see it come full circle means it's all a giant psyop.
Yeah, there's a famous video of this is a Trump rally. This is from Trump 1.0, and you know, there's a reporter out there that said she went over to the leftist side of it, you know, because they are always protesting, and all these people are just lined up to get into this convention center to go to this Trump rally. And so she was walking around interviewing, like, why do you? And it's just the most hatred, vitriolic crap that you really have ever experienced. And she was talking to a guy that was over there who wasn't, like, you know, trying to burn them at the stake, right? And it was a black man, and she said, "Would you be afraid to go over and talk to these people?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I think I would, you know, like, and go talk to the Trump people."
Oh, right.
And you may have seen this video, and I wish I would have, but I just kind of thought about it. But anyway, so he goes over there, and he says, "Hey, so if I were to come over here, like, you know, what would you guys say to me?" And he's got had a Biden Harris shirt on or whatever. And he'd say, "Man, we need to change your shirt, but come on." He put his arm around him. You know, you just got these good old white boys that were just like, "Yeah, come on, buddy," you know. And he's like, "So you wouldn't do anything to me?" And da 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 da. And the reporter who's doing this said, "Now, what would you do? What do you think would happen if I took one of these over there?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, they would string him up." string them up. And it totally changed that guy's perspective.
He used the phrase "string him up."
Oh, yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I'm trying to remember a 10-year-old video.
I got you.
But suffice it to say, he was surprised. He was a leftist who was told a certain thing about us on the right, and he went over and experienced it for himself, and it was totally opposite of what he was told. And the hatred and the vitriolic rage that was coming out of those protesters, it just hasn't stopped in 10 years.
Yeah, and a lot of those people we now know are brainwashed because groups like the SPLC literally create their own headlines to then tell the left racism is the biggest problem in America right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really sick when you think about the active deception. And this is the mark of a color revolution intel operation, is what this is the mark of.
Yeah.
R.N. McIntyre, again, false flag of the highest order used to weaponize law enforcement against their political foes. This is their, and we're going to talk about Virginia here in a minute, about how the left uses political power all the way, like pedal to the metal. They turn it up to 11 every time, and we don't, because we have people like John Thune.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this is hilarious.
Matt Walsh for the win.
This is just so funny.
Always.
He says, this gives me new respect for Jussie Smollett, who he bootstrapped his fake hate crime and paid for it himself, rather than having the SPLC organize and fund it for him. Support your local mom and pop hate crime hoax operations before they're all put out of business by the big guys.
Juicy Smoulier.
Juicy Smoulier.
Justice for Juicy.
Oh, now don't weaponize Dave Chappelle's jokes.
Chappelle.
Don't weaponize Dave Chappelle's jokes. He's mad. He's mad about it. But I will say this. I think I actually subscribe to the conspiracy theory that Juicy Smoulier was actually probably paid to do it because Cory Booker and Senator Kamala Harris were trying to get passed through the Senate at the time, anti-lynching laws, which you're like, don't we already have anti-lynching laws? Yes, you would be right. But they wanted more anti-lynching laws.
Yeah.
And this happened right as they were pushing that legislation. Juicy Smolier's like,
So they waited till the polar vortex in Chicago to say, here's our chance.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is
Dave Chappelle.
Matt Walsh is a great joke, but I'm telling you, Juicy Smolier was put up to this.
What?
By Kamala Harris. That's my position, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a hot take.
Maybe.
You tell me.
Well,
the odds are insane that it's an attempted hanging, basically, right? They put a noose around his neck. You're telling me that happens at the same time she's talking about lynching and getting rid of hangings, or like it's
Spartacus would have played that out better.
It's insane, dude. It's
Juicy
insane.
Did.
They were connected.
He's like, so you walk to Subway at 2 a.m.
Here's this rope.
He's like, it was 20 degrees outside.
This is
Minus
MAGA
20.
country.
Yeah, and he goes,
right.
So that happened in Chicago. A couple of guys in MAGA hats, and got you at 2 o'clock in the morning, huh? Alrighty. And but then you see the actual.
We knew he was lying.
Yeah, it was like black people were remarkably quiet on that because that dude was clearly lying.
That's right.
It's so good, so good. And everybody makes fun of it or whatever. But if you see the actual video from the police, the police body cam, they walk into his house or his apartment or whatever, and he's still got the noose around his neck. And it was because I was like, this is all for show, man. Yeah. And the police knew it at that because they asked him about it. Like, well, he put this noose around my neck, and he's like, and you still have it on? It? He's like, well, yeah, because I wanted y'all to see, whatever. It's like,
exactly. All right, so
like he wasn't expecting.
I'm just pointing this out real quick. Here it is. It was Senate Bill 488, Justice for Victims of Lynching Act of 2019. When was Juicy Smolier fake attacked? In January of 2019. So I'm sorry.
Well, and it wasn't immediately known to be a hoax, although, people knew about it, but yeah, people knew about it before being investigated as a staged hoax. I can't remember how long after that, but it just didn't feel like it was long.
The Charlottesville hoax, now we know the Charlottesville false flag was the reason Joe Biden said he ran.
I ran for president in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches,
Coming out
their
of the woods.
veins bulging,
Their
Veins bulging.
carrying Nazi swastikas, and chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany.
Hair
in
on the
early
legs,
30s.
standing up.
Yeah.
Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, so emboldened by a president then in the White House.
Nazis coming out of the woods.
What a starter.
Want to touch my leg here? Not going to touch my leg here. I'll shave my legs before you can touch my leg here.
Absolute
Sure, an international depression.
disgrace. Good grief.
For the people, you know the thing.
The thing, yeah.
You know the thing.
You mean the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, right.
yeah.
The pledge.
We all recite this thing from when we were.
This is just 4 months ago.
Hold on, though. I want to say
Used to be
this about that.
self-evident.
This dude, 81 million votes, folks.
Yeah.
81.
We keep talking about we're going to do an entire show on just
Breaking that down.
the elections. We could talk about all of that, but my God, man, the fact that there's still people that believe he got 81 million votes.
Yep.
The guy couldn't even say an entire sentence without stumbling over something. Wow.
So 4 months ago,
Okay.
Jamie Raskin.
Who
This
is
is how popular
who is a
this is.
complete
What a narrative.
complete douchebag.
Now, in other times, Democrats and Republicans alike would rely on the Southern Poverty Law Center to help us keep track of the movements of violent white supremacy in the country.
Yeah, it's just so prevalent.
The Southern Poverty Law Center has been a vigilant voice in civil society against radical white nationalist violence and extremism, neo-Nazism, and other forces across the political spectrum that spread organized hate from any quarter. The president, however, wants to undermine civil society organizations and to reduce our ability to defend ourselves against the virus of racial violence.
You
So,
see
yeah.
the top of the screen up there? Aged like milk.
Age like milk.
Thank you, Raskin.
This would be like
What a tool.
This would be like we read the old Charlie Kirk tweet. This would be like Turning Point USA being indicted for paying the leftists to assault them at public events.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
This would be this is a huge story.
Yeah.
Because again, they look at Southern Poverty Law Center has been given the benefit of the doubt with not obviously we know it's a Democrat org, but like all these corporations, they're somehow neutral, which neutrality is a myth. There is no such thing as neutrality. You're always going to stand for something or have some sort of agenda. So we know that's wrong, but this is the status they were given. They were given kind of clergy-like status among civil society. You use that phrase. Like these are the adults in the room, the SPLC.
Oh yeah, they were the keeper of the
Yes.
checks and balances
Right,
here.
and if we can absolve you or we can condemn you based on whether or not you make our list, it's absolutely insane. Now the memes on this are pretty fantastic. Me when the Southern Poverty Law Center check hits my account, and you go,
American History X.
and there's a couple of American. Here's another one. William Wolf, the Southern Poverty Law Center check just hits your bank account. There's some good ones here. Let's see. I think we may have a few more.
Listen, if you've not seen American History X, you need to watch that. That is an incredible show.
Here's
Incredible
Kamala
movie.
Harris in the debate.
Let's remember Charlottesville,
Oh God.
Go.
where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's
So, I mean, obviously, that didn't work in 2020 or 2024. But this is very much like the J6 thing.
He was.
And this is why I 100% believe that J6. There's plenty of evidence already, but I 100% believe J6 was the similar situation, total setup, total entrapment, and that's why I think this Kirchhoff lady. I know she's now suing Steve Baker, but we'll wait for discovery. Steve Baker was posting the other day. bring this lawsuit on.
Yeah, bring it on.
You do not know what we know. So apparently he's got even more receipts that he wants to get to in this. So
yeah, it just blows my mind how, they have one playbook, and that is the Democrats want to just create division. The Republicans, it seems, we've got our own thing there where we're trying to stir people up. But for the most part, Republicans are just like, can we get back to sanity?
Yeah.
Can we get back to where you're not just going off the deep end with what you're trying to do to this country? And the Democrats are like, but he was mean about this, and he said this, and he said that. And it's like, but what are you actually going to do for the country? What are you going to do? And they don't have a platform. Their only platform for the last 10 years is stopping Trump. And I'll say this, folks. We got a little over 2 years here, right? Or around about where we've got, what? I don't know. How many years left is he having? So he's got 27 and 28, right? So a little over 2 years. And then Trump is, I hope, going to go into the sunset here and try not to try to do a third term crap. I think he says that really just to kind of rile up the left. But what's going to be their platform then? What are they going to do? Because right now, the only thing they've got is stop Trump and this person's a drunk. That's all they've got,
yeah, that's a good point.
With Kash Patel and, Pete Hegseth. That's all they've got. He's a drunk,
So I'm trying to get through all these things, so forgive me if I'm cutting you guys off, but this clip has now made the rounds too. So this is a Southern Poverty Law Center senior fellow, Mark Potok, who this post reminds us is Jewish. And in this is a documentary in 2018 that was called Alt-Right Age of Rage, okay? Mm-hmm. And in this short 15-second clip, you can see that there's a chart tracking the decline of the white population.
And my bosses insisted that we move out of the house for a week. At one point I was notified last year by a letter from a federal court in New York State that a certain guy
You saw that right there.
And my boss.
So people are making note of this. You see, like on his wall, he has non-Hispanic whites population. And you see it went in 1920 to 90%. In 2015, it was down to 62%. And so isn't that a interesting statistic to be keeping track of? And it kind of it shows you what their motivations are. It shows you what their strategy is. It is they're fighting racism by being racists against whites. They're literally using psychological warfare to turn the country against white people just for being white. You're now racist. I mean, it's really, this is a huge deal. I mean, this indictment is a big deal. It really, I mean, it exposes what all of us already knew, but it exposes it officially. It is now our government saying, yes, you did this and you are a fraud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had a great analogy there when you said it'd be like Turning Point USA paying some of their funds to an organization or whatever to go out and create any event that is, the right attacking the left, and the left attacking the right, so that the Turning Point USA can, look at what we have to deal with. Well, you know what? They actually did deal with something. And that is that there are people who wanted Charlie Kirk dead, and one who was successful at it. Yeah. And there's a lot of us, and we talked about this yesterday on this show, that I don't want to kill anybody on the left. Right. The only people that I have a death thing is someone who abuses children, who rapes women, or of course somebody that murders someone. But I don't want to kill anybody on the left. I can't stand some of them. Jamie Raskin being one of them. That dude is a moron. But there's just a difference in them. They're talking about. I saw a video today where she was just like, I don't care anymore. Somebody needs to kill Trump. Kill this man. And I'm like, I couldn't stand Biden. But I was not sitting here saying
Yeah,
somebody
no,
needed to kill him.
Yeah.
Good grief, man. We're dealing with people who I don't truly believe have a moral soul.
But they think they have the moral high ground.
They do. They
So-
do.
Which leads them to the extreme acts that you talked about. I mean, because they think that that's what it leads to. They think that's okay. I mean, that they think they're doing right. It's the same in. I mean, Muslims are following the Sharia law in the Middle East, and terrorists think they're doing the right thing. I mean,
That they have the moral high ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
what your brain and what your conscience will allow you to do.
So
it's heavily influenced.
Yeah, that's a really
by
good
this
point. The killing, in that sense, it's like, well, the killing here or the violence here is actually a righteous act.
stuff. Yeah.
So framing white people is righteous.
They think they're doing the world a favor.
Exactly. Like they've already come up in their heads, well, they really are racist and they're evil and they need to die.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this money and we're going to pay the white people to be racist, to be a part of these groups, to cause problems, to cause headlines, to get the narrative changed, and because they think that they are righteous. Now they're actually evil, and we know that. We know that, unfortunately, we have the moral high ground, and this is why we're at an impasse, because both sides think they have the moral high ground, and that means there's going to be chaos, honestly, but we have control of the government right now, and we've got to winnow the enemies. We got to winnow these people, and that's exactly what the Trump DOJ did yesterday. I mean, it was a much needed piece of red meat for us, and let's hope that there's actually justice and there's a conviction out of this.
That's why we need to bring back the 80s.
That's right.
I was listening to sorry, I don't mean to deviate from the topic, but was listening to a podcast the other day about the making of Jeremiah Johnson, the movie, Back to the Future, and a few other things, and I just sat back thinking about it, how simple the times were then.
Yeah.
Like, just listen to these guys talk about movie making in the 80s and this amazing run of blockbuster movies back then, and all of that, and how that played into our culture and our iconic movies for forever. And I just sat back and I was like, that'd be so nice to go back to that.
Yeah, with the knowledge that AIDS is a terrible thing, because that's the only negative there that came out of the 80s was the
Dahmer
AIDS.
and AIDS.
The AIDS epidemic, and it took Freddie Mercury from us, Queen.
Oh man.
You guys know Anthony Fauci was involved in the AIDS medicine, right? That actually made people sick and killed them.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked? You haven't looked into that. You need to look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Anthony Fauci was in charge of the drug that millions, or not millions, but hundreds, if not thousands, of gay guys thought that they were actually given a drug to basically kill them.
Fauci destroyed Queen.
Man,
so good.
Probably.
That's another reason
So
Fauci needs
good.
to be arrested.
Here is Dave Ramsey meme. This was great. So your mission at the SPLC is fighting racism. Yes, Dave. And you raised millions of dollars for this? That's right. And you spent the money on what? We gave it to the KKK, Dave. We gave it to the KKK.
Oh.
Some things never change, man.
Just in case you don't know, this is not a real conversation that happened with Dave Ramsey.
Oh, yeah. They know, Rob. So Bungie, the creators of Halo, this was Happy Pride Month, everybody. Embrace love, diversity, inclusion. Bungie is the biggest game company supporting the just indicted Southern Poverty Law Center. Then we have Dave Matthews, funding hate, slander, and division on the American people for years. Dave Matthews Band organized or participated in a fundraiser specifically for the SPLC with public donation drives tied to the band. This is how ingrained they were. Again, they had this essentially this unassailable reputation among corporations and among the civilized society. Cam
It's
Higbee.
cool to see these receipts like this.
I know.
I mean, this is cool.
Cam Higbee.
You wouldn't back to the 80s, like you wouldn't have seen this back then, but we can get these receipts now pretty easily.
That's right.
This is cool.
And they're available thanks to Elon Musk buying and owning X. The state of Alabama gave the SPLC $375,000 5 days before the Charlottesville attack. Well, hey, there you go. So we talked about federal funds, but
goodness gracious,
this is showing that the state of Alabama gave money. So that would be taxpayer funds.
But that is, Alabama is one of the reddest states in our union.
Yeah, but
so
white guilt is a powerful drug.
Oh, yeah.
White guilt's a powerful drug, everybody.
Kiss those shoes of black people. It'll make it all go away.
Jack Posobiec reminding us that Alex Jones, in 2017, Charlottesville was a false flag run by the SPLC operatives who hired actors to pose as Nazis.
He said that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Alex Jones called it.
Elon Musk.
I don't give that guy enough credit.
Elon Musk, he predicted 9/11 too. Elon Musk in November of 2024, the Southern Poverty Law Center is a criminal organization, in my opinion.
Said it in 2024.
2024. We also see that's kind of another thread, and we already talked about that one there. So anyway,
USA Today with their garbage.
So the left is spinning this by saying they're going after people that infiltrated hate groups. Can you believe that?
Paul's got his hands on his hips.
Can you believe that? Anyway.
That's a really good. That is a good impression of like a 68-year-old California
Quiet down, Karen.
liberal Democrat who's like,
there's Karen.
He goes, how could you support Trump? Do you not watch the news?
Karen Harrell program, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, yeah, the Karen Harrell program is going to take a break real quick, and we're going to be back here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere, folks. Quick commercial break. This is the Paul Harrell program, and I can't find my ads. Here we go. We'll be back here in just a minute.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red 5.
Why is Red Vibe different? What sets it apart? What sets us apart from the standard red light panels? This is a medical grade device, and what that means is the red light bulbs and the near infrared bulbs have very specific wavelengths. If you think about the wavelength as the medicine, the 635, the 670, the 810, the 850, those were specifically chosen because those are the most powerful effectors of the cells. So those specific wavelengths, when they get into our body, when they affect our tissue, they spike energy production, they help with nerve pain control, they increase stem cell counts. There's very specific mechanisms that those specific wavelengths work at, and that's the medicine. So if you think of, say, medicine as an Advil or a specific steroid or a blood pressure medication, the wavelength is the medication. The other part of that, whenever you take a medication, is dose. Right? So you have the medication. So if you take 1 milligram of Advil, and the average dose of an Advil is 200 milligrams to 800 milligrams, it's not going to work. That doesn't mean the medicine's bad. It just means you didn't take enough. Right? And so even if you have the right wavelengths, first you have to have the right medicine, and then you have to have the right dose. And to have the right dose, you have, in light therapy, you have to have enough energy. So you have to have a powerful bulb. The LED bulbs, or light emitting diodes, have a specific wavelength, and that wavelength is the medicine. And the wavelengths that have been studied and published on that are the most powerful in affecting healing and the changes that we want to see with our bodies and our health are the 635 wavelength, the 670, 810 nanometer wavelength, and 850 nanometer wavelength. Those are all going to affect the mitochondria, the cytochrome C oxidase, and affect those powerful long-term changes and affect that downstream pathways. And that's what you get with Red Vibe devices. The highest efficacy, the best wavelengths, concentrated to help your health.
The Paul Harrell Program.
Hey folks, welcome to the show. Welcome back. This is hour number 2 here on LFA TV. We really appreciate you being with us. We can't do the show without you. Rob had to get, because it is Wednesday, and a lot of times he can't make it for the second hour, but we still got Eric Haynes with us. Eric.
Great to be part of the conversation.
So, Virginia.
Great to continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
Laugh. We've had a lot of laughs.
It's always
feel
great.
like I've got a hernia from from laughing so hard today. I'm sorry.
The Karen Harrell program is here.
Sorry. I won't say that again.
No, it's fine. I think it's great. Maybe we should do a whole parody on that. So, Virginia last night in a very close election, much like we've always seen, it seems like Fairfax County and these Virginia counties where the blue, they just don't report their results. All the rural counties do, which, of course, leads many to believe that there was cheating involved when it comes to stuff like this, because we're still running these elections on electronic voting machines. I just had a call today with Dr. Andrew Paquette, just trying to hammer down exactly what is wrong with these voting machines, and we just talked this. There is software that is being run on these things, the check-in software that public officials don't even have access to. And the only state that does have access to some of this is Texas, which is why Bexar County got caught in the John Cornyn, Ken Paxton race. Is because Texas has a law that demands some of this check-in software has to be made available to officials. So in a lot of these machines, the tabulator may work fine at actually counting the votes, but whether or not the ballots are legitimate or not, or you haven't created, in some cases, 180% difference, where, you'll have 100% and then 80% of that 100 is tacked on to the end, and things are duplicated, and then the votes go for the candidate you want. It's incredibly complicated. It's so complicated that's why we still have it, because it's very difficult to
like the presidential election in 2019.
Yeah, 2020. You mean,
or 2020 when we went to bed?
Yeah,
it was one thing. When we woke up, it was another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so these elections are going to be suspect, especially as close as it is. Basically, a 51-49 split last night with this situation. Hang on one second, Eric, because I'm going to change you out there. Yeah, here we go. So here it is. We have the breaking news on this is that a Virginia Circuit Court has ruled yesterday's redistricting vote as unconstitutional. Listen to this report.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger celebrating the win in yesterday's redistricting vote. Voters narrowly approving a new pro-Democrat congressional map in a controversial referendum that critics have slammed as a, quote, power grab. The outcome threatens the already very tight Republican House majority. Mark Meredith is live in Alexandria, Virginia, with more on this. And Mark, that vote ended up pretty narrow.
Bill, it sure did a lot narrower than some people were expecting, and Virginia voters showed up in huge numbers to determine Tuesday's redistricting referendum. This morning, Democrats are celebrating the outcome, saying they're putting a check on President Trump's power, but Republicans say this is simply proof that Virginia has lost.
Okay, well, so this report isn't actually saying, but anyway, Nick Sorter saying that a Virginia Circuit Court has ruled yesterday's redistricting vote unconstitutional and issued an injunction blocking the results from being certified. This is big. It's not over yet. It's very likely this will end up at the state Supreme Court, who will make the final decision.
Just look at those state maps.
Oh, it's insane.
You had 6-5 of how it had been split before. Now it's 10-1.
Yep.
Like, you can't rationalize that. You can't even explain that away. And I know she tried on an interview. I saw it, and it was one of those things, and she kept talking about the whole temporary aspect of it, but it's just like,
let's see if I can get a better picture of the map here.
Doing this to your state and do it to the people. Half the people in Virginia are conservative.
Look how the lines are. This is the better map. Okay,
yeah,
check. Look how the lines are drawn. Do you not see how all of these lines? So many of them are drawn towards where? They're drawn towards Washington, D.C. And that's how they've got the map that they've got. It's really sick when you think about it. Here's Governor Abigail Spanberger.
Do you worry that states, districts all over the country now will just go tit for tat trying to do this? Not every 10 years, but whenever they feel the need.
I certainly think that is a fair concern, which is why absolutely when Democrats take a majority in the House of Representatives, my hope and expectation will be that there will be serious conversations about redistricting reforms and the process by which all 50 states will take on redistricting efforts. But I think essential to the conversation, as I mentioned, in Virginia was our commitment to our bipartisan commission. And so I think it's important that every step along the way, we weren't saying, okay, this is the new normal of this kind of tit for tat. We were saying at this moment, we are taking a responsive and temporary step, and we in the Commonwealth of Virginia are committed to getting back to that bipartisan commission. So I think that was an essential part of the discussion.
So we got to sacrifice bipartisanship to save bipartisanship. What a joke.
We got to gerrymander back in as unequal a way as possible, because we gerrymandered before and the Republicans tried to level the playing field and balance things out a little bit, but we're going to call what they did gerrymandering, and we've got to get ahead of that now, so we're going to do it even worse. Am I understanding that rationale better?
That's the rationale.
That's the rationale.
Yeah, it's a psychosis. It's just lying. She's a liar. That's what it is. It's just basically
she's a plant.
Total liar, CIA plant, CIA puppet. Aaron McIntyre, the people shrieking about the woke right claim that if the right discussed how to take power, it would become a mirror reflection of the left. Hope it's clear to everyone what purpose they served. All the people saying, no, don't use the power that you were given because the Democrats will use it even more. Well, we've seen how that works out. They're going to do it, and they're going to get rid of the filibuster, and they're going to pack the Supreme Court if the midterms are the disaster that they appear to be. We had these reports. Polls in Virginia have been closed for an entire hour, and not a single vote was reported by the deep state headquarters of America, Fairfax County. And so they did the same thing that they always did. I've always done. This is more of the same here. I just kind of pulled a bunch of stuff. Barack Obama, congratulations, Virginia. Republicans are trying to tilt the midterm elections in their favor. He goes on, but they haven't done it yet. Thanks for showing us what it looks like to stand up for our democracy and fight back.
Jeez.
Fight back, baby. Get rid of those Republican districts. Now, look, I get it. Florida's done it. Texas has done it. I understand it, right? But the fact of the matter is,
they're just using strategy to their advantage.
There are red states. I mean, there are red states that could do this that haven't done it yet, and I think they 100% should at this point. And you know what? We could talk about what came first, the chicken or the egg, but I'll tell you who did this first, and it was the Democrats in the state of Illinois. You go look at Illinois' map, and you tell me.
It's laughable.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing this.
Pritzker and they all know it, too.
Yeah,
they laugh
all
about
know.
it.
It's
They're
ridiculous.
They're like, yeah, we
so
kinda,
I mean,
rigged this one.
Yeah, go ahead. If your state's in control, and Indiana should, the governor of Indiana should call a special session. Look at this: 49% of Virginians voted against the Democrat redistricting plan. 49% of the state will soon only have 9% of the state's representation in Congress. Now, also keep in mind that she also last week signed a bill to give Virginia's electoral college votes, 11 electoral college votes, to the winner of the national popular vote. So it doesn't matter how Virginia votes ever again. Their electoral college, which, by the way, that's unconstitutional, I believe, as well. We'll see if it is. I know the states are supposed to have control of their electoral college, but it's just insane.
Yeah, it's wild because Glenn Youngkin spoke out about this the other day too, and to see where that state has gone in the last 4 years as far as leadership is just maddening.
51% of voters can take away 100% of the rights of 49% of the voters. This is why I'm actually against this principle. Is the reason I'm against constitutional amendments that pass in a state with 51%. In Arkansas right now, and people may disagree with me here, but in Arkansas right now that can happen. You get something on the ballot in 51%. I think it needs to be at least 2/3, because I mean we're talking about changing the constitution of the place you live. You should have a little bit more security. It needs to be an overwhelming majority, which is why we can't change the American Constitution, by the way, There are two ways to do it. You can't change it until you have, I think, 2/3 of the states have got to ratify the thing before you can do it. So, anyway, Democrats won this referendum on the strength of their mail-in vote margin. While it was only 11% of the vote so far, it was an astonishing and almost inexplicable yes, plus 45. That translates to about 5 points of overall margin, which is more than the Times estimate, 2.3. So Election Day in person.
Look at that variance.
I know, plus 9, no. So they won Election Day in-person voting by 9 points, saying we do not want this redistricting. Mail-in ballots came in plus 45.
Whoa.
So they cheated. I mean, sorry, I think they cheated with mail-in ballots like they always cheat with mail-in ballots.
Totally.
You don't even need the machines. This number right here is insane.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, plus 45. 11% of the votes, mail-in ballots.
And they only lost by 1 point, essentially. I know, man.
Virginia.
If you live
stand up,
man. If you're a good old boy in Southern Virginia right now,
good grief.
I mean, what are you thinking about this? You know, the land. Especially
Paul,
if you're a generational
this
Virginian.
This is a tipping point. We've talked about this before. Granted, this is one state, but this is a tipping point for Virginia. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people's voices were just silenced by their own state legislators and administrators. They were effectively silenced.
And it's funny that they say, you know, she says, well, it's only temporary, though.
Yeah, I heard her say that multiple times.
And she's saying that because it's like, well, this is extraordinary circumstances, you know. We're at war. And they are. They think they're at war.
Sure.
So they got no problem, you know, pulling a version of an Abe Lincoln, you know, when he suspended habeas corpus. And I say that specifically because, honestly, there's so much corruption in this country. And you know, you talk about, well, we got to sacrifice bipartisanship so we can be bipartisan later. I think we're to the point where it's so corrupt. I don't think you can save this by just using the system at this point that we already have. The system that they will do everything their main goal is to maintain power at all costs, and then our guys get in there and we try to be we try to be polite and respect the other side that wants to kill us all. I mean, that's what I think. Look at Indiana.
We've been a turn the other cheek party.
Yep.
In an effort to keep peace.
Well, yeah.
And because I don't have the time, I just want to take my kids to their to soccer practice or to basketball practice, and you know, I want to, you know, hang out and do something fun with my family and jump on the trampoline for a little while. So sorry, I can't devote any more time like I should. But we're reaching that.
We're playing two different games.
Yeah.
You know, we're at the kid's house, you know, because it's his house, he gets to change the rules of the basketball game when he's losing. Like, that's where we're at. Indiana Republicans were too principled to redistrict a state Trump won by 20%. So Virginia Democrats took away 4 Republican seats to form a 10-1 advantage in a state Kamala only won by 5%.
This is nuts.
I love this type of stuff. Good thing the GOP didn't gerrymander Indiana. Now the GOP has secured the moral high ground. Checkmate, libs. This is the John Thune mentality.
Yeah, right.
This is the John Thune mentality. But here's the deal: is it really the mentality? Like, do you think John Thune really has that mentality? Well, we have the moral high ground. Or do you think somebody like? And I know that you may disagree with this. Or do you think John Thune is playing for the other side?
I disagree with that.
I know you do, but I'm entertaining it because, you know, I think I just feel like a rational person that is just as aware and conscious as I am of what's going on would want to use their power in totality if you really know the danger that average Americans are facing. But they're not average Americans, so maybe that's to your point. But I just think it's more likely that, you know, the uniparty is protecting itself and wanting to sabotage, and they don't want America to be for Americans. They want the status quo to continue driving this country in the ground, shrinking the middle class. But I mean, it is a funny thing. Good thing that they've got the moral high ground. Checkmate, libs, right? I mean, that's what we'll be saying. Or, you know, the old meme where, you know, we're finally in the firing line and we're about to be shot. And I look at you and I say, right before we get shot, I say, can you imagine if we did this to the Democrats? And then boom. Like, so these comparisons really fall short when you think about it. Like, we have these whataboutisms, and so I think people at the top that are in control, that are Republicans, it's, you know, the simpler way is they're just controlled opposition, and they make sure that the people never truly get what we want. But I know you disagree. So
no, on the Thune part,
on the Thune
about
part.
him basically like wanting to lose. He's just not. I just think he's not a fighter, and he's a go along guy. He's a yes man. He's not what you want in a majority party leader, and we kind of knew that from the beginning. So I'm trying not to give him too much, but I'm also trying not to take away too much because I don't know enough. But I have my doubts. I'm moving a lot further toward that side of, man, does he really not care as much as I don't think he cares, and is being this lazy and defeated? Or is this really what he wants?
So this Seth Keshel cued in on this tweet too, you know, who was a really, really amazing statistician when it comes to the stolen elections. So he cued in on this, right? The election day, the early voting, and the mail-in vote. 72 to 27 yes. 72 to 27 yes. Now,
sure thing.
The reason
See what he says?
Yeah. The reason I bring it up is because he was retweeted by Ed Martin, who's in the DOJ. And Ed Martin says, "See the steal." So you kind of wonder.
Wow.
You kind of wonder. Was the DOJ watching? Was anybody watching what was actually going on in Virginia? Obviously, I know a circuit court's already stopped it. It's going to go to the state Supreme Court of Virginia. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, maybe you can always hope. You can always have hope. But I will say this: I was watching the Hunger Games with the family the other night, and the big
one,
the first one, and the totalitarian, the main guy. I've only seen the movies one time ever. And I don't even remember the head of the state, whoever the head of the state is, with the beard, the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the only thing.
Kiefer Sutherland's dad.
Oh, is that who that is?
Donald Sutherland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was saying the only thing, he said, fear is a powerful tool. He said the thing that's more powerful than fear is hope, but not too much hope, but just a little bit of hope.
Right.
As long as they have a little bit of hope, that's a useful tool to basically keep them down and keep them enslaved. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that one hits.
I mean, it just
that
does.
One hits different
I was
now,
like,
doesn't it?
we're all sitting now. I mean, and I had the thought in the wake of the SPLC, and I'm super glad that they've been, apparently looks like they're being brought to justice, which is great. Like, if you're just joining us, we did a whole hour celebrating it. But even a little accountability with the SPLC could, how much. Depending on how much hope you give the people depends on how much corruption there is to solve. And so if you solve a little bit of it, we have hope.
At least the see the steal alarms are going off. And the, yeah, sure. At least the alarms are going off here.
Yeah.
I mean, will anything be done about it, though, bro? I don't know.
When it comes to the election. When it comes to
who's going to go in there right now and do the
accountability.
forensics, how long is that going to take? Can we get this thing fixed before the midterms? I mean,
yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, this really is a great segue into talking about how the SAVE Act is still not going to get passed. Doesn't look like it is. Oh, but were you listening the other day when I was talking about my prediction? My 7-step prediction or whatever.
Yep.
And somebody, John Solomon, was claiming that Trump is going to release information. It's basically saying what I think was going to happen, although the fact that John Solomon said it probably means it won't happen. I don't mean to be mean. I just like Solomon reports all these great bombshells, right? You talk about hope being used as a weapon, and it doesn't really ever happen. It doesn't ever really come to fruition the way we think it is. But it does, like, oh, it's finally going to come, right? I mean, we'll see. I think appointing Joe DeGenova is a good idea. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah,
but
Trump's going to need to have an ace up his sleeve. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to need to have a perfectly timed ace up his sleeve, and it's going to need to be massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what they got planned, but it better be big.
All right, it's official. U.S. Appeals Court rules to allow Texas to display the Ten Commandments in public school classrooms. This is good news. Ken Paxton saying the Ten Commandments have had a profound impact on our nation, and it's important that students learn from them every single day. I would agree with that.
Totally.
Arkansas has a similar law that I think it was recently struck down, but this is kind of a small microcosm, as fundamental as the Ten Commandments are. I'm not trying to diminish them. It's kind of a microcosm of the struggle that's going on right now, where Americans are wanting America to be America again, and not this hellscape that it's become. And the reason it's become that way is because we have forced God out of public life. And there's really no way to force God to do anything. But I would kind of amend my statement and just say we've decided to attempt to veil God from the public, and it's obviously impossible to do that as well. But the more we have run away from the Lord and his statutes or the Ten Commandments, the sicker we have become as a society, the more wicked we have become as a society. That much is patently obvious. You can call it a slippery slope if you want, but there are courts. This will go to the Supreme Court, and there are courts that are saying, hey, this is totally fine to put the Ten Commandments in the classroom. And I'm sure, they'll put them in there as some sort of historic, I don't know, I don't care how you have to do it, honestly, whether you say, hey, we put them in here because it's part of our history, or we put them in there because there's religious significance. I don't really care. But I know there are kids, because of the state of our country and because of the state of our families. I mean, there are children that never go to church. They're never taken to church. And I think it'll do them some good to see the Ten Commandments, especially if they ask, well, where do these come from? Well, they come from the Bible, and this is generally, this is specifically actually, you can take general principles from them, but this is how we're supposed to live our life. We're not supposed to break these because God said so, And, you've got the first 4 that are about our relationship with God. You've got the last 6 that are how we are to relate to each other, in a civil society. So it was Phil Robinson. Go ahead.
Well, there are principles at school that are more important than the principals who are thought of as the, educative hierarchy, one person leadership. There are principles that are far more important than that principle, in my opinion. And so I think it's great that these are back in there because, they're fundamental to our society and this experiment that we're all part of. And the day those go away, it'll be a tough day.
So, have you ever thought about how, I think the real reason the left doesn't want the Ten Commandments in school is because, as a matter of public policy, the Democrats now are against every single one of them.
Totally.
And so the idea that, of course, they look at everything through politics.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Well, let's just think of it. Yeah. Well, we could go through. Okay. Number 1, don't have any other gods before me. Okay, well, that's offensive just on it itself.
Sure.
Specifically theologically, they don't believe that. And as a matter of public policy, some of these people at the higher ups, I think, are actually active Satanists. But that one's an easy one for them to be offended about, right? The idea that there's a God and you're not it is offensive to them.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not make graven images. I mean, that goes against their immigration policy. We've got 90-foot tall monkey statues in Texas. Don't take the Lord your God's name in vain. This is the idea of a blasphemy law they would obviously be against, but the Democrats, they love to use God when they to get their policies passed, right? Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, if you get on the right day and the right issue where they think they can twist Scripture and claim that God is for their policies, which is taking His name in vain, they do that all the time. Honoring the Sabbath, obviously, no, they're not for that. But if we start with father and mother, honor your father and mother. I mean, they don't want that. I mean, they want to secretly trans you. As a matter, they want to secretly be able to trans your children without having to tell the parents. As a matter of public policy, they are against the fifth commandment of honoring a father and a mother. Murder, abortion. So number six is murder. No, number 6 is murder. Number 6,
okay.
Yeah, is murder. 8 is theft. 7 is adultery. Obviously, come on. And the Republican Party has a problem with number 7 too. But as a matter of public, with adultery and everything else, you could kind of go into divorce law in general, honestly, with that one. Although I know that's a biblical reason for divorce, adultery. Number 8, don't steal. Tax policy, theft, partiality, all that stuff. Number 9 is don't lie. Number 10 is a big one. Don't covet. Their entire socialist policy, that may be the biggest one, is covetousness, coveting. The LGBTQ, they are actually big coveters. They're either coveting a person of their same sex that the Lord did not intend for them to be with, or in the trans case, they're coveting being made in the body that they are being made in. They want another body instead of the one they were given. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just think there's no. It's not a shocker that they're against the 10 Commandments.
Right.
It's not just for religious freedom or separation of church and state purposes. It's literally because those commandments, that morality, goes against their system, is going to flourish in an immoral environment. If anything goes.
Yeah.
If anything goes, their power gets stronger. If there are limits, and you have people believe that what we do here on this earth matters, and that you're held accountable, and that everybody's going to face their maker when they die, they don't want that to be out there. They don't want people to think that that's the truth, because it'll hurt their power grabs. So anyway, that's just I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bore everybody with that, but I did a whole show one time on all 10, and I'm forgetting. I thought it would come to me. I'm forgetting the first 4. There actually are some really interesting specific policies that the Dems. I'll have to go back and look at my notes. That you'd be surprised at how specific it is, how they are against all of them as a matter of their public policies. Ilhan Omar got questioned by Allison Steinberg.
This was good.
I actually have only read about it.
I saw it. It's hilarious.
Okay, all right. Here's Ilhan Omar and Allison Steinberg.
So set this up. Like, she's being questioned now because on her taxes this year, she filed an amendment to amend her net worth down from.
Okay.
So that was the big deal. Like, so. At first, when she filed, she was worth $30 million. Now she's taken that down, and she's only worth $100,000.
Wow! So she went from $30 million to $100,000.
That was what she was claiming on her taxes, and she filed an amendment to make that change for her. So
she hopes no one will notice.
Yeah. So anyway, she gets confronted about it, which is hilarious.
All right. Here it is, everybody. Ilhan Omar getting...
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Getting confronted.
Her financial disclosure. Yeah.
By Allison Steinberg. Here it is.
Congresswoman Omar, the last time I spoke to you, you said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on it?
Absolutely, you're stupid for asking me anything.
I am?
Yes.
Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big
I have
mistake?
explained to the American people
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because they're
I don't want to tell you jack shit. How about that? Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
It is pretty funny.
Look at the spiteful indignation from her in that. I mean, what's she gonna say? What is the explanation?
Yeah, I'm
You're now no longer worth $30 million. You're worth $100,000.
I'm worth $100,000. Bless her heart. I'm sorry. That's the southern.
You did it.
Coming out in me, because
you can't say that about Ilhan
I'm
Omar,
sorry.
though. You say that about some Karen who doesn't know any better.
I disagree with her on everything, but I'm just like, man. Maybe it's I maybe it's because I hate the awkwardness. I do have a real problem with that. I have a real problem with awkwardness, and I always want everybody to be happy. And I actually, for a political commentator, by the way, I actually hate disagreements. I really do wish, like, can't we all just get along? Like, that's in my heart, that's kind of how I really am. And actually it's a character flaw of mine. It can be a character flaw of mine, because it can actually cause me to be a coward for real, because I don't want to be confrontational.
So you're okay. So this
I can be passive when I shouldn't be passive, I guess.
So you're one of those guys that can't let the awkwardness just play out in the room like on an episode of The Office.
Correct. Now, I loved that show, but man, yeah, there were some times where I couldn't. You
would want to fill that space of awkwardness with something pithy to make everybody feel better about the situation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Yep.
I've seen that's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
And it's noble that you do that,
well,
because you're trying to basically not make anyone feel awkward about anything.
Yeah.
But look at this situation that Lindell put her in.
That's why I said bless her heart.
It's so good that they asked her that cool, calm, and collective as she did, asking Ilhan Omar that question like that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there anything you wanted to explain to the American people why you changed your disclosure from $30 million to $100,000? Could it be anything to do with Nick Shirley exposing the massive amount of fraud in Minneapolis that you're obviously a part of, and that your hubby brother and all of these folks that you're in cahoots with are totally taking money away from the American people? Like, is there anything you want to say to the American people about that? Mm-hmm. I don't want to tell you jack crap. Like good grief.
Oh,
what a monster.
Well, confession's good for the soul, bad for the reputation. But yeah, I mean, it is monstrous. $30 million, and now she's worth $100,000, and obviously that's not true. She's obviously worth more than $100,000. And so, will J.D. Vance catch up with Ilhan Omar? Will he be her downfall when his task force or whatever brings more people? Of course, we got to bring people to justice, not just cancel the contracts. People got to go to jail.
It'll earn him the presidency if he does.
It really will.
If he's able to help the American people expose and maybe not get their money back,
yeah.
But if he's able to put a lid on a lot of this stuff and shut the doors on the fraud and waste and abuse, that I think Doge did a great job of kind of like opening the can. Well, if our vice president can open up that can even more, expose it all, put it all out on the table, and put some people in jail, he will win in a massive landslide, no matter who, what idiot the Democrats put up to run against him.
I agree.
And Kamala's already said that she's considering running again, which is laughable in and of itself. So please bring it on.
Are you good till the top of the hour?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's reset here. I want to check the headlines and see if there's any news I've missed in the 2-hour broadcast so far. And if not, we're going to move on to the Supreme Court oral arguments concerning Election Day versus election season, which will be very interesting. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be back here in just a moment. This is the Paul Harrell program, broadcasting on LFA TV, YouTube, and other places. Don't go anywhere.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
The other things that we're seeing, more and more use for is even vascular issues. So one of the mechanisms that red light, near-infrared light, or red VIVE works is stimulation of the mitochondria and stimulation of nitric oxide production. So when nitric oxide is released in cells, it vasodilates cells. It reduces inflammation. It moves blood. It brings blood flow to areas. So if folks that have issues with ulcers or burns or wounds, it can help stimulate increased blood supply, and you need blood to heal. So that can open up different avenues for peripheral artery disease, for neuropathic pain syndromes. And so that's one of the other areas for nerve injury or nerve pain that we can leverage this type of medicine.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
The Paul Harrell Program.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us, broadcasting from this great state of Arkansas here on LFA TV. We're here with you for another 15, 20 minutes or so. So I just saw this during the break. Cernovich posted Watergate was fake. WMDs were fake. J6 was fake. Charlottesville was fake. Almost every boomer benchmark of reality is fake. Sorry, I had you muted there, Eric. Just kind of looking at a few things. Just kind of trying to tell that court, if you're just joining us, hang on, where did this one go? Yeah, we covered this earlier, but I'll throw this up there, that a Virginia court has voided last night's constitutional amendment referendum on redistricting, ruling the amendment process unlawful and blocking certification of the election results. Obviously, the Dems are going to appeal this as quickly as they possibly can. But I'm going to move on now to, more hope, I guess. This was, let's see, April 21st. Daughtery posted this. I'm going to make sure how clear this was. Okay, this was back in March, actually. But there could be a scenario, because we talk about what happened in Virginia with the mail-in ballots and how, the conservatives in Virginia won last night's vote by, on Election Day. They won it, but they lost it with the mail-in ballots tremendously on the mail-in ballots. So what if the Supreme Court is about to say, we got to get rid of election early voting and we've got to go to a single-day election? What if they're about to make that rule?
How wild would it be that the Supreme Court could save us from the idiots in leadership in Virginia and save us from John Thune's biggest mistake?
It really would be crazy. I can't imagine it actually happening. But listen to this. This is a Justice Samuel Alito, and I just don't think the rest of the court. I don't know if he'll get a majority. But just listen to this.
We have lots of phrases that involve two words, the second of which is day. Labor Day, Memorial Day, George Washington's birthday, Independence Day, birthday, and Election Day. And they're all particular days. So if we start with that, if I have nothing more to look at than the phrase Election Day, I think this is the day in which everything is going to take place, or almost everything. And then we have 3 points in time, 1844, 1872, 1914. And we can ask, what would people have thought on those days is meant by this phrase, Election Day? Which of those should we choose? Which of those dates should we choose?
Well, I think you could choose any of the 3. I mean, honestly, I think the single best one, if you're just going to choose one, is 1872. And the reason I say that is because 1914 is the latest in time, but that's the one that Congress gave the...
So there you see that. He's essentially saying, look, the way we're doing things now doesn't make any sense. It's election day, not election season or election days. It's election day. So, the getting mail-in ballots after the election, obviously that's got to go. You would think that's got to go. But will it result in some sort of precedent that says, oh, and by the way, early voting, we can't do early voting? Because that's where, let's be real, if it was an election day, Republicans would do much better. There's no question that we would do much better. Giving them 2 weeks, or in some states you get like a month
to cheat.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is not, are there real people that are voting during that time? Yeah, there are. But it allows you to, with the numbers game, getting a knowable number of how many people voted. You can start doing your estimates. That helps computer algorithms. Having knowable, I'm not a math person at all, but I know algebra is a lot easier when you have at least one number or two number. When you have at least 2 numbers, it's easy to figure out what the third number is.
Yeah.
So,
well, how will Justice Roberts and Justice Coney Barrett fall on this will probably be the determining factor, right? Am I reading the tea leaves wrong on that?
You're not reading them wrong at all.
That will be the curveball, right? Or on how this thing goes. We can pretty much figure out how the rest will land on that. Sadly, we shouldn't be able to predict that. Right? How based on politics.
In an ideal world.
Is Ketanji Brown Jackson going to say, you know what?
Yeah.
You guys are right.
No, you're right.
These mail-in ballots
Boy,
are
that would be crazy, right?
How wild would that be? It'd be like Twilight Zone stuff.
Yeah. It would be. That would be crazy. So I said we were going to mention this, the pipe bomb story. Steve Baker's now being sued by Shawnee Kirkhoff, and he is not intimidated, at least publicly. He's saying, lawsuit, you have no idea what you have, what we have. You have no idea what we have. What you have unleashed. Discovery is a female dog. Bring it, he says. So, he says you can't win.
I like how he brought on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I know. You can't win, you pathetic life form. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you possibly imagine.
That was a good Obi-Wan. I knew you were going to nail that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, is that you really? I wasn't even trying.
I know, but I could see you sizing it up.
You can't win, Darth.
I go, here comes Obi-Wan.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly. I sound more like Moff Tarkin, I think.
I hope the audience
Obi-Wan.
Can hear the awesomeness of that.
Okay. So, we're going to find out. I think this is good. I'm glad she's sued because I want to know the truth. I want to know if Steve Baker is right. I kind of think he is because I don't trust the intel oligarchy, and I know they haven't fired near enough communists that are in the DOJ and FBI. I know it. I know they haven't done that, and so I'm trusting this guy who I'm trusting Steve Baker right now because I've read his stuff, and I think he's probably right.
Lawsuits are meant to threaten in these situations. And so then anytime the response, you saw this with Sean Ryan and a lot of other people recently that have been threatened with these big lawsuits, and anytime they say, bring it on, or discovery's a B, it's like, let's go.
I know.
I know.
Yeah, that was
they're ready
with,
to jump in the round and go 15 with Ivan Drago.
That was with when Sean Ryan was bringing on. He was talking to Crenshaw, right?
Yes,
because Crenshaw was mad about something he had said or something. Yeah. Here is real quick. I referenced the pricing based on incognito browsers, but here's you talk about the affordability crisis. These corporations that are now going to take all this tariff money now because of the Supreme Court, it's really making a lot of people mad.
About this morning.
Because, you know, if there was a pass-on cost, we paid for it. The consumers paid for it. But I was reading this post by Ricardo, and it really flies all over me about how greed is such a ugly, ugly thing, and these faceless corporations really do. This is no longer about a service. This is no longer about you caring about your customer. It's only seeing them as dollar signs, and really hating them, not loving them. We have so many unchristian people who are at the top of every institution in this country. And so we're going to talk about Amazon. So he says this: Amazon just got caught running a secret price manipulation operation with Levi's, Home Depot, Walmart, and many more. He says every time you comparison shopped online, you were looking at prices that were already rigged. Here's what happened. Amazon would monitor prices at Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Home Depot, and Chewy in real time. The second a competitor listed a product cheaper than Amazon, they'd contact the brand directly and tell them to fix it. And the exact emails are now public. Amazon sent Levi's links to 2 Walmart listings with the subject line "Styles of Concern." They basically said the prices on Walmart are too low and we have a problem. The next day, Levi's responded. I talked to Walmart, and they have partnered with us to take Easy Khaki Classic Fit back up to the latter SPP price $29.99 immediately. Levi's literally called Walmart and told them to raise the price because Amazon told Levi's to make the call. Walmart complied. Then Amazon matched the higher price. Both retailers ended up charging more. The customer paid extra. Nobody competed. Same playbook with Hanes. No relation to Eric. Amazon sent them links showing Target and Walmart prices were lower. Hanes confirmed they reached out to Target and Walmart to have the prices increased. Target increased the prices. Walmart increased the prices. Amazon kept their margins. But it gets even worse. Amazon told Allergan, the company that makes eye drops, that their product was suppressed on Amazon because it was cheaper on another site. Allergan responded. Walmart got their price back up to $16.99. Amazon then unsuppressed the listing. They did this with pet treats on Chewy, furniture on Home Depot, products across dozens of categories spanning years. The mechanism is simple but terrifying. If you're a brand and you sell cheaper on Walmart than on Amazon, Amazon suppresses your product, removes you from the buy box, buries you in search results, and effectively makes you invisible to 300 million customers. Brands can't afford that, so they call Walmart and Target and say, raise your prices or we'll lose our Amazon listings. Walmart and Target comply because they need brands' products. Amazon captures 40 cents of every dollar spent online in America. That gives them the leverage to set prices across the entire internet, not just on their own platform. So it turns out you were never comparison shopping. You were looking at a coordinated price floor set by Amazon through backroom phone calls between brands and their competitors. Amazon is working to make your life more unaffordable. 3 separate antitrust trials are now scheduled for 2027. The FTC has its own case. 18 states plus the DOJ are piling on. This is literally happening during the worst affordability crisis in a generation. Groceries are up 25% since 2020. Housing unaffordable, wages flat. And the largest e-commerce company on earth has been secretly coordinating which brands to make sure you can't find at a cheaper price anywhere. Competition in retail is just a fantasy. People said this was going to happen. I remember them saying this was going to happen when Amazon took over because they were willing to operate at a loss for forever. Amazon Prime, the free shipping, that was always operating at a loss. It may still even be operating at a loss. I don't know, but I remember when they did Amazon Prime with the videos that they were losing money on that. They were already so successful. They were saying, look, we're going to get everyone addicted to online shopping. And then when we run all the competitors out of business, we'll jack the prices up. But they're not even doing that because Walmart and the rest of them are still around. And so now they're a monopoly. And honestly, they're all working as the same company if that's the case. Yeah. Amazon and Walmart are now basically the same when it comes to antitrust laws. I mean, when it comes to the practicality behind an antitrust law. We've got huge problems, and people are starting to take notice. There was that jury trial. Hang on one second, and let me find it because I forgot. There was this meta court decision where they lost in a jury. I thought, let me see if I can't find it. FTC appeals loss in meta antitrust case. Now, that's in January. This was like last week where it was in Texas, I thought. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can't find it. I should have already pulled it. Let me just say Meta loses. Meta loses in Texas because I should have pulled it. Yeah, here it is. Jury finds Meta and Google negligent in social media harms. No, that's not it. Well, maybe it wasn't in Texas. Yeah, that's 2024. Well, anyway, my point is I can't find it at the moment, but the point being, it's getting to the point where the people are now becoming more and more angry with what's going on. And it's not just the government, or you can't just blame tariffs. You have a lot of really greedy, evil people at the top of these companies. And it's soulless. It's absolutely soulless, Eric.
The scale of this is absolutely massive too. I mean, this affects everything from a retail and what you buy, where you buy it, and why you need to try your best to shop local, to support local businesses, to buy things and do things however you can, and stay away from these big box house corporations if at all possible, because I mean this stuff is unreal. And I remember this goes back to when COVID really hit and prices just got really cattywampus all over the place. And we knew that grocery chains and grocery box stores were operating at a margin of around a couple percent on most of the items in the store. But as we saw supply and demand issues and we saw all these prices go up, and now they're still there, and in some cases have gotten worse. And it's 2026 now. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're still social distancing and double masking and nobody's going anywhere. All that stuff is back to normal, and it's hard to live, Paul.
It is.
For a lot of people, and I see this all the time in places where I am all throughout people are making some very, very tough decisions. And I've personally watched people at stores making very tough decisions.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm probably one of them. Eric, I appreciate you being on the show, brother. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Folks, want to give a shout out to Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, 7 Weeks Coffee, Sherrod Chiropractic. We can't do the show without them. We're going to be here tomorrow. God bless everybody out there watching. We're going to hand it off to Secret America. This is the Paul Harrell Program. Don't forget, go to YouTube and subscribe to the Paul Harrell Program YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.